It wasn't pretty, but I thought Duquesne did a really good job of game planning against us. Defensively, they mixed up defenses a lot in the second half. Really kind of kept us out of a rhythm. Obviously, they really tried to pound the ball inside in the post and probably points in the paint. It's pretty even, 28-24. So we got some. We kind of came back in the second half on the statistical category, but credit to Duquesne. I mean, they made it a tough fight for us. It was a very physical game, but I'm really proud of the way that we fought. It's 2 games in a row. We weren't playing necessarily our best and found ways to win, and that's what you got to do throughout the season. So, really proud of the team. Proud of these two. Played phenomenal basketball. Casey was going off in the first half. Katie hit some huge threes for us as well, and made some big plays. So it was definitely a team effort. We needed contributions from a lot of different people.
Questions for our student athletes, Carl? Start.
Katie, tell us about this year versus last year. I mean, how are you healthy compared to last year, and what have you been able to do?
I think coming from last year, there's been a lot of changes for me individually and our team. All around, feel better, feel more healthy. The atmosphere is just a lot better, so it's a lot easier to have energy and play well.
What makes the atmosphere better?
We just get to see each other more, and we have fans, and I don't know. It just feels a lot different being on the floor this year.
You're shooting really, really well. I mean, you're close to the top of the MAC and 3-point and 2-point and overall percentage. Did you work on that in the off season, or what makes a really good shooter?
She's been pretty good since she's been here. Every year she's been a pretty phenomenal shooter.
Yeah.
No, our assistant coaches and Coach Starkey put us through a lot of shooting drills, and we do some individual workouts. We had some more time to work on that this year, so I guess that helped.
Team seems to be getting more assists this year. Tell us how that affects you as a scorer and as a assist giver?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels better, and you can just feel a difference when points are coming from assists versus just individual plays. We had 14 assists today, so that was good for us. We definitely needed that.
Casey, you're the assist leader. Tell us about assists from you and helping you as a scorer.
Really just try to drive and kick and get my teammates open shots, because it's a lot easier creating for people to get open shots than them having to try to create for themselves and force tough shots. And for me, it also helps me because they don't know if I'm going to pass it or shoot it. So, you got to pick whether you want to give me the lane or you want to close out, because then my teammates are open and can knock down those shots.
Either of you talk about as Duquesne is coming back at the end and 23 is scoring like crazy. What are you thinking when that's happening? How do you fight them off?
Really, I think it was just toughness and who wanted it more. She was doing really good, but I think we just were more gritty in the end, and we came out with winning it.
Katie?
Yeah, I think we have been able to show our togetherness this year in that way, with teams making runs. In previous years, I feel like we've gone kind of down, but our team is more united this year, and we can pick each other up and just stop it and get the win.
Call her Catherine, or Alan or Catherine.
Casey, you were 4 for 5 from 3 points tonight. What's it like when you're kind of just in the process of knocking them down and kind of going on a little bit of a run like you did in the first quarter?
Honestly, it just feels good. It's kind of like don't think, just shoot it type, like a heat check moment. But it feels good.
Talk about an assist neither of you had a hand in. Is when Claire went over the top to Lindsay to give you for that 3-point with probably about a minute to go. Are you able to see that when it happens? What did you see with that, either of you?
I saw it happening. Lindsay was pretty wide open, and it was like a huge turning point for us. It gave us a lot of energy because like we needed that 3-pointer. So like it gave us a lot of momentum at that time with a minute left to go, a close game.
It looks to me like you've been doing that over-the-top pass more this year than last year. Is that something that you guys especially have worked on?
I think we were always capable of it, but I think it's just more of a trust thing. We were trusting each other more this year, and we've been really like emphasizing assists and like moving the ball, and we're doing a really good job of moving the ball this year.
Can you just talk about coming off the bench and your role? And it seems like obviously as soon as you come in, you're looking to push and score and that type of thing.
Really, when I come into the game, I just try to give energy and like make the game better from what it was going. Because like a lot of times when I come in, the other team's getting tired and they're not as deep as we are. So really, just try to come in and give energy at that time.
Would you agree that game was a little more high intensity than a typical December game, and you got all these whistles and a lot going on out there? First of all, comment on that, and just how does that help you moving forward?
I mean, yeah, it definitely felt more intense than other games we've had, and I think it only makes it easier for us to get like hyped up and together and talk to each other. You have to be louder. You have to play better defense. So, yeah, I mean, it felt good the whole game.
Anything else for Casey or Katie? No? All right. You ladies are good to
Good
go.
job, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Questions for Coach Starkey?
You can talk about assists from you. You said that it's a goal.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it leads to a really good team. But we've got a lot of really good players. We got to make sure everybody's getting touches. Moving the basketball. Wasn't really pleased with our assist total and the way we played. Against St. Bonaventure, I thought we were trying to do a little bit too much individual playmaking. So, we talked about it before the game. I said, if you guys get between 12 and 14 assists in this game and have fewer turnovers than that, we're going to win the basketball game. I think it was 14 and 10. 14 assists to 10 turnovers, and came out on top. But it took some big shots for us. I mean, the way the game is called, you have to try and make adjustments to that, okay? And I'm not sure we did a great job of doing that, and so we've got to have to make sure we get better at that. So trying to figure out exactly how physical they're going to allow us to play and that type of thing. But they played really physical. I mean, they really pounded. It was obviously their game plan was to get it inside and to get points in the paint. This game was a little bit of survival. It was a little bit of survival, but to your point, though, I mean, this was a very intense game. It's one of the reasons why we schedule a tough schedule, because this is what conference play looks like night in and night out. So we really wanted to make sure we had a tough schedule, and this felt like a conference level type game. But I really liked our team's composure down the stretch. Even when they were putting a run on us, nobody looked panicked or rattled, and that's experience coming out.
When I can't pronounce number 23's name, but I mean, she was there
Fatu.
She was there leading scorer.
Mm-hmm.
But the scout probably didn't say she's a 30-point scorer. So did you have to adjust to her during the game?
Well, she's had 25 in a game this year. She's their leading scorer.
Yeah.
We knew she had the potential to do that. But if you look at our record over the last 3 or 4 years, I mean, Carl, look it up if you want. The number of times our record against teams that have a single player that scores 30 or more points, I think we've lost one of those games over the last 3 years. Okay? It's not our philosophy to try and shut down singular players. It's our philosophy to try and win as a team. And I think, that's one of the reasons why I think we've had success in some of those games is that we're not just trying to come up with intricate game plans to try and take leading scorers, out of the line. She was feeling it. She was in zone. They kept going to her. She was getting easy looks. They were calling fouls. She was going to the free throw line. So is what it is at that point. But at the end of the day, you look at the ledger, and we have more points than they do, and that's really what matters to us.
When you see that pass like that Claire made to Lindsay over the top at the end there, I mean,
That's not a big deal for us. That's just a good basketball play.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not something we work on. I mean, it's a skip pass, right? And they've got to be. We're better at moving the ball now. We've got better players. To me, it wasn't like I think it was just a really good play by Claire. She found an open player. She read the defense, and she found Lindsay, and Lindsay knocked that thing down. I'm not surprised by that. I've seen those two do that over and over again. You know, and Lindsay Thal's made big shots since she's been here. Katie Schumate's made big shots since she's been here. I mean, Katie, you know, you asked, has Katie been working on a three-point shot? Not any more than she has before. I mean, she's been one of the leading. Her freshman year, she led the conference in conference games in three-point field goal percentage. Kid's a heck of a shooter. So, you know, they just made basketball plays down the stretch, you know, and that's what we expect them to do. They expect to do that.
Casey has become a heck of a shooter this year too. So.
Hey, listen, she scored 2,400 points in high school. Like, once again, these kids aren't falling off the trees. Like, just, you know, like we go find them, because the reason why she's here is because she made 10 threes in a game in high school, had 40 points, you know, had 2,400 points. She was 3-time All-State. Like, these kids are capable of that. I know you guys don't see it all. I mean, I see them do this stuff on a regular basis, and that's why we're a good team, is because we've gone out and got some really good pieces and put good pieces together that fit, and they're playing, you know, to the level of their capabilities. Not necessarily every game, every minute, but it's a good combination of players. They play well with and off of each other.
Lindsay had 9 rebounds tonight, and she's been rebounding. Her rebounding has taken a major jump. What has she done to get there?
Focused on it. I mean, that's all. I mean, rebounding and defense are want-to skills. We talk about their want-to skills. You got to want to do them to be good at them. Okay, her want-to has gone up this year in rebounding from the past years, and she's getting those numbers. It's not like we haven't done like these new miraculous rebounding drills and really taught how to do that. It's just her focus and energy in that area has significantly increased. Alan, did you?
Yeah.
Just looking here, they came at you, pushed out a little into the third. They come back. They got to within one. I'm sitting there, I don't even know how many times. Just talk about being able to. They get it down that point, but every time you make a play to hold the lead, and you end up coming out of it.
Yeah, I would rather not play that way. I'd rather not be put in that situation. But these players have played a lot of minutes together. They've been through a lot of ups and downs together, just like a lot of other teams in the country. But we've been fortunate to not have a lot of transfers. We've been fortunate to have our best players choose to stay here and fight together towards a common goal. And it comes out in moments like that when you're not playing your best, right? Teams are putting runs on you. You don't panic, and you still make good plays down the stretch. We've been able to do that a couple times this year. We've done that in the past a little bit. So it's nice to see that type of continuity pay off because they're comfortable with each other.
You're up 3 late. Obviously, you guys did a nice job of defense. She pulled the trigger on a really deep 3 with quite a bit of time on the clock. Thank you very much, I guess. But
yeah, I was a little.
You guys did some good things there as well.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. I mean, we went to switching everything there because it was a 3-point game. We didn't want to give up anything on the 3-point line. You know, I thought they did a really good job. We did a really good job of talking defensively and staying connected. And I think they got a little panicked by that and just kind of forced a shot way before they needed to. Fortunate for us, right? We just didn't want to foul a 3-point shooter or give up an and one at the basket. So I told them if they got the ball inside or whatever, you know, let them score. Not let them score, but make sure you don't foul. Show the ref your hands. Keep your hands high. A 2-pointer doesn't beat us. You know, then we can call timeout, advance the ball, and we have, you know, possession to work with. We play the fouling game. So we were fortunate on that one.
Bexley was, I think, 6 minutes tonight. She's getting back into game-playing shape. Just talk about her for a second and what she's done for you.
I mean, she's been through a lot of ups and downs over the last 2 years. It was the first major minute she's played in 2 years. Went through a really tough injury. He's gone through a lot of stuff. And it was nice to see her stick with it and give an opportunity. We needed her tonight because they were really, pounding it inside, and thought she played some important minutes for us in post defense. Made a really good pass on an assist to Hannah, which was nice in the second quarter. So it was nice. I mean, Bexley's maybe one of the highest recruited players to ever play in the MAC. I mean, she was on USA Basketball when she was, young. I mean, she was one of the top 20 players in the country, and then has had a lot of ups and downs, and her time at Penn State, and then here it's nice to see, her continue to work there. She's got a long way to go, but it's nice to see her continue to work to this point so that we can actually use her in a game. But Achilles tear is really difficult to come back from.
Catherine, you got anything?
Yeah, just one quick question. So your defense forced 13 turnovers, and you were able to score 14 points off of those turnovers. Can you talk about how important not only just to force turnovers but score points off of them as well?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'd like to have a little higher conversion rate off of 13 turnovers. I'd like to probably get it up into the 20s. It'd be nice to. It's one of the things that we've got to get better at is our conversion rate off of turnovers. Plus, we need to force some more. We have typically not been a team that is high in the conference in steals and that type of thing. It's not really how we don't play a lot of hyper risky defenses and that type of thing. We try and keep teams off the free throw line. Try to, but. Like you said, I mean, that's an important statistic to look at is what rate are you converting on your turnovers, and I'd actually like to be a little bit higher than that, but it's nice to get 14 points off of turnovers.
Anything else?
One more real quick, just talk about what it's like to play through. There's 30 fouls and 31 free throw shot in the second half. Not necessarily asking for a comment on the officiating, but just what's it like to have to play through this?
It's hard to, I guess it's hard to coach, through that. I mean, the game gets really choppy. It obviously gave them an opportunity. I think it played certainly to their advantage because they had the opportunity to get back on defense, switch defenses up, and it took us out of a flow a lot. I think there were 7 free throws shot in the first half, and what'd you say, over 30 in the second? So it's a big, there's a difference there, but you have to adjust to that. I mean, we have to make the adjustment to that. I can't say whether the first half was called the way it should have been or the second half. I mean, it was called differently based on the number of fouls, but it also probably got more physical too. It got sloppy and physical and that type of thing, and so that's their job is to call what they see.